This special person did something to test you and you want. My beloved child, listen closely, because from the very first second, something inside your life began to move the moment that special person decided to test you. They didn't test your strength, they tested your spirit, your patience, your silence, your resilience, everything they thought would expose your breaking point. But what they never expected is that this moment would awaken the version of you that even you didn't know was ready to rise. As you hear these words, feel the shift, the air around you tightening, the heartbeat inside you growing louder, like destiny tapping on your soul. And you must not scroll away, because in the next few seconds, you'll understand why this test wasn't meant to hurt you, it was meant to reveal something extraordinary. Something huge is waiting for you. Now listen carefully, because here comes the first twist. The person who tested you never wanted you to know that they had been watching your reactions long before this moment. They watched how you handled disappointment, how you stayed calm when others would explode, how you carried hurt in silence without letting it turn you into someone bitter. They tested you not because they doubted you, but because they sensed a power in you that even you had forgotten. And every time you stayed quiet when your heart was shaking, every time you walked away instead of fighting back, every time you held your dignity like a shield, they took note. They wanted to see if you were ready to step into a higher version of yourself. And right now, yes, right now, they're shocked, because you didn't bend the way they expected. You didn't crack. You transformed. And that transformation is the very reason your path is about to open in a way that will feel almost unreal. But wait, there's something deeper, something that will make your audience feel the pull of every second in this narration. The test wasn't about your reaction to them, it was about your reaction to yourself. Life put you in front of a mirror disguised as a person. A mirror that reflected the wounds you never acknowledged, the loyalty you gave too freely, the expectations you carried without speaking. And when this person pushed you, when they tried to see how far you would go before giving up, what actually happened was the opposite. You found pieces of yourself that had been sleeping. You discovered a patience you didn't know you had, a strength buried under years of being underestimated, a calmness that only chosen souls carry. You realized you could walk through fire without burning, through storms without drowning, through darkness without losing sight of your own light. And that realization, that awakening, is exactly what will turn this test into your turning point. Something huge is waiting for you, bigger than the hurt, bigger than the lesson, bigger than the person who tried to measure your worth. Keep listening, because the reveal is only beginning. Here is the truth you were never told, the truth that person hoped you would never uncover. The moment they tried to test you, the universe started rearranging things in your favor. They expected you to chase, to panic, to shrink, but instead, you grew silently. And that silent growth terrified them more than anything. Because when someone realizes you are no longer driven by fear, approval, or desperation, they lose control over the script they were trying to write for you. They wanted to see if you were still the old you, the one who tolerated disrespect, ignored red flags, and carried people who never lifted you back. But you didn't respond like the version they remembered. You responded like someone reborn. And that shift, that unexpected rise, is why destiny is opening doors you never imagined you'd walk through. Something huge is waiting for you, and this time, it's coming with your name carved into it. But before you move forward, you need to understand the emotional depth behind this test. This wasn't a random moment. It came at a time when your life was already heavy, when your heart was tired, when your energy was stretched thin. And that's exactly why the universe allowed it, because breakthroughs always arrive wrapped in confusion. You weren't being punished, you were being prepared. They pushed you emotionally, maybe even spiritually, not realizing they were unlocking the very parts of you the world needed to see. The tears you held back, the truths you swallowed, the battles you fought alone, all of them became fuel. And now that fuel is igniting. You are stepping into a timeline where your endurance becomes your power, where your pain becomes your clarity, where your silence becomes your elevation. The test wasn't meant to break you, it was meant to expose the strength you kept hidden even from yourself. And here comes the revelation that changes everything, the reason you couldn't skip away from this moment even if you tried. The person who tested you unintentionally revealed their own limits while trying to measure yours. They showed you where their loyalty ends, where their intentions shift, and where their courage disappears. But you? You showed them that you don't collapse, you evolve. You showed them that your heart can stretch without breaking, that your patience can last longer than their games, and that your worth is not something anyone can play with. And because of that, your path is rising. New opportunities, new connections, new blessings are aligning with your spirit, not by luck but by preparation. You've passed the test they thought would defeat you. And now, something huge is waiting for you, something bigger, brighter, and more aligned than anything you've experienced before. Keep listening, because the story is just beginning. And now understand this moment with a deeper breath, because what's coming next is the part no one warned you about. The shift you're feeling is not in your imagination. It's real. The energy around you has begun to rearrange itself because you passed a test that wasn't just emotional. It was spiritual, psychological, and destiny level. That special person acted like a trigger, but the transformation? That came from you. They thought they were observing your reaction, but life was observing your soul. Every second you stayed grounded, every moment you chose restraint over chaos, every time you refused to fight battles that weren't yours, your spirit was being recorded, measured, elevated. And whether you know it or not, you crossed a threshold that most people never reach. Something huge is waiting for you, and the reason it hasn't shown up yet is because destiny wanted to confirm if you were ready for a life beyond the version you've been surviving. But let's go even deeper, because your audience needs to feel the intensity tightening around this revelation. The test didn't just expose your strength, it exposed who truly stands with you and who only pretends. When that person tested you, they unintentionally peeled back layers around your relationships, revealing the silent envy some people carry, the unspoken admiration others hold, and the hidden fears certain individuals have of your potential. This test lit up the truth like a spotlight. You saw who laughed behind your back. You saw who got nervous when you stayed calm. You saw who became quiet when you didn't react the way they expected. And most importantly, you saw yourself. You saw your power, your growth, your maturity, your restraint. You realized you don't need chaos to prove anything. You don't need noise to show strength. You don't need to fight to win. The real win is rising above the battle entirely. And that rise is exactly why something huge is waiting for you. The silence you kept became your shield, and now it's becoming your elevation. And here comes the most shocking part, the twist your viewers will feel in their chest. The person who tested you is now questioning their own intentions. Because they didn't expect you to detach. They didn't expect you to remain composed. They didn't expect you to walk away with dignity instead of breaking down. And now they're realizing something painful. While they tested you to see your weakness, all they ended up seeing was your strength. The very strength they underestimated. The strength they never respected. The strength that now makes them rethink every choice they made. They can feel something shifting around you, your energy rising, your aura becoming heavier, your path becoming brighter. They can feel that what's coming toward you is beyond their reach, beyond their imagination, beyond their influence. And the truth is simple: once life decides to reward you for your endurance, no test, no person, can stop what's aligned for you. Something huge is waiting for you, and it's already moving in your direction. And now feel this next wave hitting your spirit, because what happened after that test is something even the universe paused to witness. The moment you didn't react the way they expected, a silence formed, one so powerful it shook the foundation of every assumption they had about you. They thought you were predictable. They thought you were fragile. They thought a little pressure would expose the cracks in you. But instead, the pressure revealed your precision, your depth, your inner mastery. While they were watching your responses, destiny was watching your evolution. While they tried to provoke chaos, you chose control. While they tried to create confusion, you found clarity. And now, the universe is pulling you into a chapter where every unanswered question, every unspoken hurt, every silent tear transforms into strength so visible that people won't understand how you survived, only that you emerged with a power they can feel before you even speak. Something huge is waiting for you, and this time, nothing and no one can delay it. But here's the twist they never prepared for, the part that creates the kind of suspense that keeps an audience frozen to the screen. The test didn't weaken you, it woke something ancient inside you. You know that moment when you suddenly stop chasing explanations? When you stop explaining your intentions? When you stop defending your heart? That moment is where real transformation begins. And you've entered that zone. The zone where your silence becomes louder than their words. Where your absence becomes heavier than your presence ever was. Where your soul stops absorbing wounds and starts creating boundaries. This test carved out a newer version of you, sharper, calmer, wiser, and impossible to manipulate. They thought they were testing your emotions, but what they ended up testing was their own relevance in your story. And the truth is simple: you no longer operate from neediness. You operate from purpose. You no longer react from fear. You move from awareness. You aren't the same person they tried to test, you're the version destined to receive everything they tried to block. Something huge is waiting for you, bigger than their doubts, bigger than your past, bigger than any test designed to shake your identity. And now comes the revelation that seals this entire moment, the truth that hits deeper than anything said so far. When destiny is preparing you for a major shift, it often uses people close to you to trigger the awakening. This special person wasn't your enemy, they were a catalyst. A spark. A mirror. Their test pushed you into a mindset where you stopped asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and started asking, "What is this preparing me for?" And that single shift changed your entire vibration. You're thinking differently, feeling differently, walking differently. You're not seeking validation anymore, you're seeking alignment. You're not holding on to temporary people, you're preparing for permanent blessings. You're not repeating cycles, you're breaking them. And because of that, the universe is about to return everything you lost in a multiplied form. A new phase, a new opportunity, a new chapter is approaching, quietly, powerfully, undeniably. Something huge is waiting for you, and this time, it will not miss you. And now feel this with your whole heartbeat, because what happened next is the part no one in your story expected. After that test, after that silent moment where you stood still yet stood strong, something inside you unlocked, something rare, something powerful, something that even destiny had been waiting for. You didn't react impulsively, you didn't break down, you didn't prove anything, you simply rose. That rise shook the atmosphere around you. It shifted the way people look at you, think about you, and speak about you. The person who tested you thought they were triggering your weakness, but instead, they awakened a power that had been asleep for years. You became more aware of your value, more alert to manipulation, more protected by your intuition. Your spirit sharpened. Your boundaries strengthened. Your silence became a message louder than any argument. And that silent message reached exactly where it needed to reach. Something huge is waiting for you, and the universe is preparing the path with precision you can almost feel in your bones. But lean in even closer, because there's a hidden layer to this story, a layer you might not have realized yet. When this person tested you, they unintentionally revealed what season of life you're entering. It's a season where you're no longer the one who breaks, you're the one who ascends. You're no longer the one waiting for someone to choose you, you're the one being chosen by opportunities, people, and blessings that match your energy. Their test showed you who you can no longer be, someone who over-explains, overgives, overtrusts, and overlooks red flags. That version of you has died quietly. And now, a new version is rising, one that knows when to walk away, when to stay silent, when to protect your heart, and when to embrace the new chapter being written for you. The test wasn't a setback, it was a signal. A signal that your life is shifting from survival to elevation, from confusion to clarity, from searching to receiving. And the universe is aligning everything accordingly, because something huge is waiting for you, and this time, you're stepping into it with full awareness. And now comes the most cinematic twist of all, the part that pulls every viewer deeper into your story. The person who tested you is now feeling the weight of their own decision. They didn't expect you to rise with this level of calm power. They didn't expect you to detach without anger. They didn't expect you to glow even brighter after the test. And now, they're realizing something they never saw before: you were never the fragile one. You were the chosen one. You were the steady one. You were the one carrying a strength they couldn't match and a purity they couldn't replicate. They're questioning why their test didn't break you. They're wondering how you walked away with your dignity untouched. They're realizing their test exposed their fear, their insecurity, and their lack of depth, while exposing your resilience, your discipline, and your inner crown. And it is this moment, this realization, that shifts the entire destiny of your story. Because once the universe sees you stay true to your purpose under pressure, it opens doors that no test, no person, no doubt can ever close. And those doors? They're opening now. Something huge is waiting for you, and you're closer to it than you've ever been. And now let this sink into your soul, because what unfolded after that test wasn't just a shift, it was a revelation. The moment you didn't react the way they expected, you unknowingly stepped into a higher dimension of yourself. Your energy changed. Your presence changed. The way people perceived you changed. That special person thought they were pulling you into a trap of doubt, but instead, they pushed you into a tower of clarity. You began seeing through intentions that were once hidden behind smiles. You began feeling vibrations you once ignored. You began understanding that silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. And the universe took note of every breath you held, every emotion you controlled, every storm you walked through without losing your balance. Something huge is waiting for you, and every second of your calm has been preparing the ground beneath your feet for a breakthrough that will arrive suddenly, powerfully, unmistakably. But look deeper, because what they thought was a simple test was actually the closing of an entire chapter of your life. Their test exposed the cracks in your environment. You realized who grows with you and who gets threatened by your growth. You sensed who secretly hopes you fail and who quietly prays you rise. You saw the truth behind the people who clap for you, and the ones who clap at you. You discovered that some people stay close only to measure you, not to support you. Others stay silent because your strength makes them question their own. And in that very moment, you learned one of the greatest lessons life could ever teach: not all who test you deserve access to you. That realization alone elevated you onto a different frequency, one where your spirit feels lighter, your mind feels clearer, and your future feels closer than ever. Something huge is waiting for you, and this time, you'll walk into it without the weight of anyone who tested your worth. And now prepare yourself for the final reveal of this part, because here's the truth that hits the deepest: the person who tested you is now facing the reality of what they awakened. They can feel the shift in your energy even from afar. They can sense you pulling back, rising up, stepping into a different level of self-respect. And that terrifies them. Not because they lost control, because they never had it. They're replaying the moment in their mind, wondering why their test didn't shake you. Wondering why you didn't crumble. Wondering how you still carry yourself with peace, poise, and purpose. They're realizing that while they were analyzing your reactions, life was analyzing their intentions. And now, tables have turned. The test that was meant to expose you, ended up exposing them. And as destiny rewrites your path, one thing becomes clear: you're not stepping into your next chapter alone, you're stepping into it chosen, guided, and strengthened. Something huge is waiting for you, and the universe is already moving pieces to deliver it into your hands. And now feel the shift tightening around you, because the moment that person tried to test you, they accidentally triggered a chain reaction that stretched far beyond your emotions. Your energy started speaking louder than your words. Your silence became a message only the awakened could hear. Something in their test pulled you out of the version of yourself that tolerated things quietly and pushed you into the version that understands power without shouting. You began to realize that not every battle deserves your fire. Not every person deserves your explanation. Not every test deserves your reaction. And while they were waiting for you to break, your spirit was busy rebuilding, realigning, and rising. You didn't just survive their test, you turned it into a doorway. And now the universe is preparing to send you somewhere your old self couldn't enter. Something huge is waiting for you, and your elevation has already started in silence. But let's go deeper into the moment they least expected, the moment where you shifted from being reactive to being untouchable. When they tested you, they weren't just questioning your strength, they were questioning your identity. They wanted to know if you still operated from fear, if you still carried the wounds they once saw in you, if you still depended on their validation to feel worthy. But when you didn't respond the way they hoped, their entire plan cracked. They realized you were no longer the same person they once had influence over. You're wiser. You're calmer. You're more aware. Your intuition is sharper than their intentions. They tried to poke at your insecurities, but instead, they revealed their own. They tried to expose your weakness, but ended up exposing their fear of your potential. And that made them step back, not because they wanted to, but because your growth created a distance they can't cross anymore. Something huge is waiting for you, and life has begun clearing out everyone who doesn't belong in your next level. But here comes the moment that shakes everything, the realization that hits harder than anything that's been said so far. The test didn't just change your perspective, it rewired your destiny. It pushed you into a phase where you no longer chase answers, you attract clarity. You no longer hold on to people out of habit, you release them out of wisdom. You no longer fear losing anyone, you fear losing yourself. And in that shift, something powerful awakened. You started choosing peace over chaos, alignment over attachment, purpose over approval. This test taught you that the universe doesn't take things away to hurt you, it removes them to protect you. And now that you've proven you can stand strong without bending, life is preparing to give you blessings so large they'll make every test feel like preparation. Something huge is waiting for you, and the moment you stepped into your strength, you stepped into the timeline where that blessing is now inevitable. And here's the part that creates the deepest suspense, the part that keeps people glued to your story without blinking. The one who tested you is now facing their own reflection. Because tests are double-edged, they reveal both sides. When they tried to measure you, they unknowingly exposed their own lack of emotional depth. When they tried to confuse you, they displayed their own insecurity. When they tried to shake you, they revealed their instability. And now they're realizing something they never thought possible: you outgrew the space where they could reach you. You're not reacting to them anymore. You're not seeking closure from them anymore. You're not depending on their behavior to define your worth. You've detached from their influence so completely that your silence feels louder than any confrontation. And that silence is now echoing in their mind. They feel the distance. They sense the shift. They recognize the power they can no longer touch. Something huge is waiting for you, and your detachment is the final proof that you're ready for it. But the story doesn't end there, because the universe has a way of turning every test into a revelation. After this moment, you became more selective with your energy. You stopped explaining your heart to people who only wanted to misunderstand it. You stopped giving chances to those who used your kindness as a weakness. You stopped shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. You started walking with a confidence that didn't need to be spoken, a strength that didn't need validation, and a vision that didn't need permission. That's what happens when you pass a test designed to break you. You come out with a glow that can't be dimmed and a presence that can't be questioned. And make no mistake, the universe rewards souls who survive storms with grace. Something huge is waiting for you, and it's coming with a speed that will leave even you speechless. And now comes the final thread of this continuation, the part where everything connects. The reason you were tested is the same reason you're about to rise. Life wanted to see if you were ready, ready to receive, ready to elevate, ready to leave behind the version of yourself that carried unnecessary weight. And you proved it. With silence. With strength. With emotional maturity. With self-respect. That test wasn't the end of your story, it was the opening scene of your transformation. Your spirit passed, your heart passed, your mind passed. And now, destiny is moving toward you with an opportunity, a breakthrough, a moment so massive that it will make every test feel worth it. Something huge is waiting for you, and the universe is guiding you directly into its arms. And now feel the truth rising inside you, because what happened after that test is something even your soul wasn't fully prepared for. The moment you chose silence over reaction, restraint over chaos, and dignity over desperation, the universe marked that as your turning point. Your energy shifted so strongly that even people who don't speak to you can sense it. Your presence became heavier, sharper, more defined. You're no longer someone who bends to pressure, you're someone who grows under it. And the person who tested you? They felt that shift instantly. They felt the moment you stopped playing small. They felt the moment your spirit stopped shrinking to fit inside the space they tried to keep you in. Something huge is waiting for you, and your transformation has already begun echoing through the places where your name is spoken. But now let's enter the part the world rarely sees, the part where the test becomes your revelation. When that person tried to push you, they didn't realize they were activating your spiritual radar. Suddenly, you could sense motives without needing explanations. You could feel intentions without hearing words. You could read energies clearer than the sentences people spoke to you. Your intuition sharpened in silence. Your awareness expanded in stillness. You stopped believing people's actions and started understanding their patterns. And because of that, you withdrew your access from those who only valued you when they needed something. You became distant from the ones who thought your presence was guaranteed. You created boundaries so powerful that even those who once had easy access now stand outside wondering how the door closed without a sound. Something huge is waiting for you, and your intuition is guiding you toward it with a clarity you didn't have before. But here comes the twist that deepens the suspense, the part that keeps your audience hooked because it flips everything upside down. The person who tested you is now facing the consequences of their own intentions. They thought they were reading you, but you ended up reading them. They thought they were controlling the situation, but you ended up controlling the outcome. They thought they were exposing your weakness, but you revealed their insecurity. And now they're confused by your calmness, confused by your silence, confused by the sudden power you carry. They're trying to understand how you stayed so composed when they expected you to fall apart. They don't realize that while they tested you, life was teaching you. While they waited for you to react, destiny prepared your rise. They can feel the blessing coming toward you even before you see it, and that fear they carry now? It's not about losing you, it's about realizing they never truly understood you in the first place. Something huge is waiting for you, and the universe is removing every obstacle tied to those who underestimated you. But the story continues, because this test didn't just reveal people, it revealed you to yourself. You discovered that your heart is stronger than you believed. You found out that your soul can stand still even when the ground shakes. You learned that peace is more powerful than proving a point. You unlocked a side of yourself that doesn't respond from pain, but from purpose. And now that you've stepped into this version of yourself, the universe is aligning things that were once delayed, blocked, or out of reach. Opportunities that didn't make sense before are about to become clear. Paths that felt closed are about to open effortlessly. Situations that drained you are about to disappear from your journey. Something huge is waiting for you, and everything you've endured has been preparing you to receive it without fear. And here is the final wave of this continuation, the moment where the narrative tightens and the energy becomes almost cinematic. The test was never about what that person did. It was about who you became because of it. You didn't break. You didn't fold. You didn't lose yourself. Instead, you evolved beyond the version of you they thought they could predict. You stepped into a realm where your strength is silent, your presence is magnetic, and your spirit speaks louder than any reaction could. And because of that, destiny has marked you for a breakthrough so unexpected, so powerful, so life-altering that it will make this entire test feel like the opening of a new beginning. Something huge is waiting for you, and you are exactly where you need to be to receive it.